everyone. I think this thing is live. Should be.
Is this thing on?
I think this thing is on. And oh, look who we have. We have a voiceless Apex Gamma joining us. How you doing, folks? Hope everyone is well. I usually don't do a Sunday show or a weekend show anymore, but a lot of people were asking, my opinion on the Rogan interview with Trump, and rather than do like a stream on Facebook or something where I could get, censored for that, I figured I'd do a Rumble stream, and I asked who wanted to join, and Apex, volunteered. So we're here, and it's been a while, man. So just how have you been? I'm sure you're anxious to get the election over and done with, just like I am. So.
Absolutely, buddy. Yeah, it has been a while. Thank you for having me. What's up, chat? Yeah, it was a rare day off for me too. So it's been a while since I've been able to, I can catch a stream here and there, bits and pieces, and say what's up in chat, but haven't been able to say what's up to you. You've had a few books come out, so congratulations on that. Very proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So,
but me, it's just same old shit, man. Just work and trying to not jump in front of traffic type of shit.
That's kind of all of us, like,
Right.
like just trying to pinch pennies and whatnot. So like, that's always fun.
Pretty miserable out there for everybody. That's true.
Yeah. So anyway, though, you I know that you and I both watched the Rogan Trump interview, and first off, like, I don't know you, but like, to me, it was kind of surreal when it finally dropped, because like that was something for years that people had been talking about, and like I'd even seen like a couple of like those deep fake AI like podcast parodies, and then like it finally happened.
It's one of those. It actually, it had been talked about for years, and I know, I know there was talk that Trump wanted to do it, but Rogan didn't want to do it. Probably for the same reason he doesn't want to publicly endorse him. But real quick, I just don't see anything live on your page.
Oh, that might be because it's on the main Whitfield Report channel, not on the live one.
The Whitfield Report. That would be why. Okay, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
So, no, that was my mistake. I was when I set it up, I forgot to to switch it to the live channel, and for some reason, like, it wouldn't allow me to change it after I had it set up. But that's just one of Rumble's quirks, I guess. But anyway, yeah, I mean, overall, I guess, kind of just my overall thoughts is like, I think this pretty much proves that like that legacy media. I mean, I feel like this is kind of like a no shit type of remark to make, but it really does kind of show that like legacy media is dead, because like I think it dropped like early Saturday morning, like right as I was ready to head to bed, and then like I woke up at like 9, and like it already had like at that time like I don't know, like 12 million views, and then
it's averaged like 1.5 million views an hour or something like that.
Yeah, it's bit like I've said this for years that like Joe Rogan, like, his shows regularly like outperform the Super Bowl now. Like, even his guests that no one really knows or cares about, like, they outpace the Super Bowl regularly. But like, even so, like 12 million an hour, that's like wild to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just as far as like sheer numbers go. And then like, I guess like overall I thought it was a good interview, minus a few, I think it kind of started slow, but I think Kamala, by not going on Rogan, is missing out on a huge opportunity. Like, even if you don't like her, like I would still listen to a podcast if she were to go on with Rogan, just because I think it would be interesting and it may be entertaining.
Well, I mean, and I like the way Joe explained it. He's like, I wouldn't even want to talk anything necessarily political. Nobody knows who the fuck
Yeah,
she is. Like, if she could sit down and have a conversation for 3 hours and not be reading off a prompter or, giggling at her own jokes type, you know what I mean? Like, just have a normal
yeah.
conversation that might help. But I think that's why she won't do it.
Well, and I talked at this with Max on Wednesday. I think one of the big problems that she faces too is like she's pretty much capitalized on the whole, I'm a woman, I could potentially be the first woman president. And that's gotten her a lot of capital, admittedly with like some of the female voters, but like a lot of male voters, not all of them, but like a lot are like, well, what about us? And now she's like desperately trying to like, capitalize on like, oh, well, I would do reforms for like, single fathers or, stuff like that too. And it's kind of like, well, it's a little too late, I
Well,
guess.
yeah, and she's flip flopped a lot. But I mean, I know actual human beings in real life that are, you know, I guess whatever you want to call them, Trump derangement, or just they're voting for Kamala,
Yeah.
openly so. Um, so when you say, and when people say things like the legacy media is dead, like it certainly doesn't have the hold it used to, but it is not dead, my friend. It still has a grip on millions of people that take it as gospel. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So like people have certainly woken up, and there's cracks in the armor now, so to speak.
I
But
I don't think it'll ever die per se, but like I feel like most like I feel like cable news has kind of gone like the way of like AM or FM radio, right? Where like you still have the radio in your car
yeah, yeah,
and
100%.
people will still use it, but like more often than not, like people will just like throw on their phone or and connect it to their you know radio or whatnot. So I don't think it's dead. I think it'll always be there, but I think the impact is a lot less than it used to be.
100%, yeah, and that's measurable for sure.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I don't know. I just think that it's like it almost seems like the death throes of the the people that have had control for so long. Just swinging for the fences, just kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, and I think one thing I will definitely say is that is kind of like I guess this is kind of like one of my criticisms of Trump is he's definitely I mean Trump is still pretty sharp, but if you listen to like an interview from him like 20 years ago versus now, he does kind of seem to meander and like wander off and kind of like wander a lot more than he used to be
Oh,
than he
yeah,
used
for
to.
sure. He is still an old man. You know what I mean? Like, I mean,
Yeah,
you've met grandpas before. I mean, he's definitely sharp. And I like how he called it. What did he refer to himself as? Like a weaver or something like that.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, which is kind of true. And I've known a lot of people like that too that can't just get to the point. I'm actually sort of one of them. I sort of have to like weave these threads, and it is easy to get lost if you're not super focused, but
yeah,
paying attention, if you don't have a really sharp point. But yeah, I mean, he did all right, and Joe didn't hit him with any super hard questions. You know what I mean? There was a lot of it seemed to be a lot of agreeing with each other for the most part, which is, I mean, it's fine too. But
Yeah.
just to be able to sit there for 3 hours and make little jokes the whole time. And I saw on the fight companion Joe was doing for the fight that happened yesterday. He was like, he didn't go to the bathroom, before they sat down. He didn't go, they didn't stop for 3 hours to go to the bathroom. He didn't go to the bathroom after he left. He didn't drink anything. So it's like, oh, I mean, he could be wearing a diaper, I suppose, but
Yeah. Well, like I've interviewed some guests for like 3 hours, and sometimes, like, honestly, there have been instances where, like, sometimes you just get like so engrossed in conversation that, like, I don't know how to else to describe other than, like, your body functions kind of turn off. I don't know if that really makes sense, but, like, unless, like, you really have to go, it's kind of like,
in sports they call it like the flow state kind of thing, where you like,
yeah,
yeah, it's like a different gear, sort of.
yeah. And like, also, like, if you're really engrossed in the conversation, like, you could ultimately, like, you can forget about time too. And we've had plenty of those. I know, just the two of us, where it's like,
Oh yeah, what the fuck time is it? Holy shit! Yeah.
yeah. So it's not. I don't. Like, people are like, holy crap, like, Rogan interviewed Trump for 3 hours. I don't think that's really. I don't think the time factor is as much a thing anymore.
No, I mean, excuse me. The only reason that it is because any long form interview or anything of the sort that the public has had access to for politicians, especially coming up to an election, have been like 60 minutes or one of the main legacy type
Yeah,
things. And they're heavily edited and they're uh, you know highly editorialized. You know what I mean? To make whatever points. I mean, that's been a thing for a long time where it's like,
yeah,
people do interviews and you chop it up and make it say whatever. I do like how the whole thing started, where Job was like, we were going back to the 2015 View episode where all the hens are fucking and just absolutely enthralled with
yeah,
Trump. They love him. They love it. His policies. They're very cordial and polite. Um, so yeah, I did like that. Joe's main thread throughout the whole thing of talking about how watching the machine turn on him and like what that was like, and he never really gave any good answers for a lot of that stuff. Like, what was it like, except for at first, when he's like, I just kind of started being a politician, and then I was in the White House. That's pretty
yeah.
funny. you know
I thought the part where, like, where Trump was talking, like, being in the White House too, and, like, seeing the Lincoln bedroom, like, I kind of thought that segment was kind of funny too, because, like, he was describing kind of like the Lincoln bedroom as, like, in the same way that, like, I've heard, like, my uncle, or like my grandfather, when he took a tour of the White House, like, it was kind of like that, where it was
very,
like
very
this.
boomer, like a very boomer type of admiration.
Yeah,
Is that? Yeah, 100%. Yes, is all simultaneously very adorable and kind of cringe. That was some of the I mentioned to you in DMs that when we were talking about
yeah,
this in the show, that I actually had to turn it off when I first fired it up. And I don't think there's ever been a single Joe Rogan episode, maybe one or two, Alex Jones or a Graham Hancock or somebody that I actually like.
yeah,
I don't normally watch them all, but anyway, I turned it on and I had to turn it off because I was laughing, but I was also cringing really hard. I think it was just kind of the magnitude of it too. I'm like, no way, this motherfucker's finally on Rogan, and he's like asking for, jokingly asking for Joe's endorsement within the first like 15 minutes, and not answering the question, not even letting Joe ask the question that he wants to ask. You know what I mean? It's like he keeps cutting him off. But it started a little slow and rocky, but it's more entertaining than I was expecting it to be.
yeah. That's also kind of like, that is also kind of like Trump's signature, though. Like I would kind of be surprised if if he didn't ask,
A
like,
hundred, 100%. And I mean, that's more on me, the cringe factor, just because I've been removed from a lot of this shit since I've been, off the show, and I kind
yeah,
of
I
try
mean,
try to ignore it for the most part. But
yeah,
yeah, unavoidable, especially this time of year.
oh yeah, like well, even I've like tried to kind of uh, uh I wouldn't really say avoid it, but like writing now takes up like a lot of my time, so like I don't focus on politics like as heavily as um I used to. But what is kind of wild about that whole thing is in one of the stories, like there's an assassination attempt on my fictional president in the story, and about a week before, about like not even like a week, like 4 days before, no, like 3 days before my book was supposed to release, that was when Trump got like shot, and it was
Yeah,
kind of like, and it was one of those things where like some people were like, maybe you should postpone the book, but I literally couldn't because Amazon has this rule where like you have to upload your manuscript like a week before like release date, and then it basically like locks the manuscript, so you can't do anything to it
right.
until it releases. So it's kind
Yeah,
of like,
yeah. Life imitates art, or something like that. Isn't that what they say?
yeah, yeah, and and I little like put out like multiple tweets like, listen, I wrote this thing back in February. I, you know,
Yeah,
I
I don't think anybody would have expected you. You know what I mean? And even if they
yeah,
did, like, I don't know. I would think it would be far enough removed that people couldn't be that mad at you.
yeah. Most people weren't, and I think it was like one of those things where like if he had gotten shot and actually like died, like
Oh yeah, yeah,
then I think I would have like just like postponed the book like further if I could have, or maybe just not maybe just like taken that element of the story out, just
I don't know, man. I mean,
entirely.
maybe your story, having again it if again hypothetically having worked that way, maybe it would have been important to put it out as a piece of art to, you know,
Yeah,
to encapsulate, or the time in which you wrote it and the mindset you were in. I don't know.
yeah, that's a good point too. The other thing that was like wild about the whole thing was like I had like this really like elaborate plot for like how a terrorist would like formulate an assassination plot, right? Where it's like really elaborate, and
Oh
then
fuck yeah! I can.
and then Max actually made the joke like, well, you made it a little too elaborate because apparently all your assassin would have needed to do was like like go up on an adjacent rooftop, and
Yeah, they're in a fucking rally with Secret Service snipers and all.
yeah, so that was, and I think that's kind of going to be like one of the wild things too, is like uh one of the things that is wild to me, like not even paying much attention, was like after Trump got shot, I'm like, and survived, I'm like, okay, he's got this election like in the bag. There's no way. And then like, Kamala, like I gotta hand it to the machine. Like she is doing admittedly better in the polls than I thought she would. So
Yeah, but again, I think a lot of us, especially people online, don't realize how many people have been beaten into Trump hate, or like, you know,
yeah,
publicly, socially, within their family, at their job. And, a lot of people don't care, but a lot of people do. And a lot of people don't, they don't care enough to rock the boat, with their family. You know what I mean? Or even
yeah,
look into it. They've got their own shit to worry about. They don't, they don't consider how important it is to pay attention to who's, getting voted into office. Although some would argue that it doesn't fucking matter. But either way.
I mean,
Yeah.
it does and it doesn't. I mean, it certainly does on like things like national, security and kind of like the big global things. But like when it comes to like, more like, local things, like that's all like, your state and local governments.
Yeah, that's all very important for sure.
Which I did kind of like. I did find it funny because at one point, like at one point, Trump mentions how like a lot of these Haitian gang groups have invaded like apartment complexes in Aurora, Colorado.
Yeah.
And that's actually kind of like around the area where I like grew up, and so I like called a friend and I'm like, I Trump made this thing on Rogan. Is that true? And my friend was like, "Oh yeah, the apartment complex that like I used to live in, like after I got out of college, is now like just overrun."
Damn.
And it's not like a crappy place either. Like it's not like a luxury, but it's not like a luxury apartment, but it's not like a
rundown shithole either. Right. I get what you're saying.
So. And he's like, yeah. And my friend was like, yeah, thank God. Like, I just got married and like my wife and I now live in a house because.
Right. Yeah. Good thing.
Like if we didn't, we would have to deal with gangs. So,
apartments anyway, yeah. The idea of apartments have always bothered me. I could see it for short periods of time, but I could not see like living in an apartment for like years and years, and you know what I mean? But
yeah,
that's besides the point. There was a point in the interview where something about nukes comes up, and I go ahead.
Oh yeah, I think it's when well, like I think Rogan asked Trump about like the possibility of using nuclear energy as like a
yeah.
Which I mean, that was a good question, and I mean that whole debate has been going on since like my mom was a kid back in like the 60s. So
yeah. Well, the only reason I brought it up is I actually commented so that I could keep the timestamp, but he says in his classic he literally says, one bomb, Israel is gone. And it took me a few minutes to realize that he was talking about Iran, because right before that he's talking about like he's mixing a bunch of shit up. He's weaving, quote unquote. And for a minute I thought he was talking about fucking nuking Israel. I was like jokingly, like if they fuck around, I don't know. It made me giggle.
Yeah. Well,
nuclear energy would be lovely. It would be nice if that would be, if that's we could get that fucking ball rolling.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I definitely think that like I definitely think that Trump, either because of his son or whoever, was like, well, if we had nuclear power plants, they could all be like, hacked and like
weaponized,
which like, yeah, that's true, but that's also a plot point like right out of one of the Call of Duty campaigns.
Yeah. Right.
Or something. And so I'm like, clearly like Trump was watching like Baron play COD or
right.
Or something like that. So
I did like there were several points that I like genuinely giggled out loud. But the number of people he calls stupid or dumbasses or you know what I mean? Like his signature, like just fucking talk shit.
Yeah.
That was nice to see.
No, what I thought was kind of what I thought was even funnier too was like, Trump like has his like, Trumpian, I guess, comedic mannerisms, right? But then at one point they start like talking about the UFC, which like I know you follow it. I follow it a bit too, but not as much as you do. And it was kind of wild because like Trump goes from like Trumpian, kind of like joking to like all of a sudden they start talking about UFC, and Trump turns into the guy who's like an expert in like, in like that. And I'm like, and I'm like,
I did make note of that too, and it's funny because it doesn't, to me, I wasn't reading it so much as like he turns into the expert. He clearly, like, he has so much reverence for
yeah.
fighters. That's what I think it is. And he is that type of guy where he's like pretends to know a lot about it, but without going too far. But he clearly like idolizes those guys and everybody involved.
Well, he might not be an expert, but like I think he clearly knows more about. I think he watches the UFC probably more than he watches like, football or something. Like
I would bet that, yeah.
he knows enough to like, have to actually like have a serious conversation. Whereas like when it comes to football, he's like, and these guys they just like throw the ball, and and then like, whereas like, he's more attuned, I guess, to
Yeah,
fighting
it's
and
fucking
whatnot.
gladiator shit, man. It
So
speaks to the primitive man in all of us,
yeah.
you know. We've been doing shit like this for thousands of years. It's just the newest iteration. And football was sort of the same thing for a long time. And then, of course, boxing. There's been combat sports of various types that have always, gained public notoriety.
Yeah. Um and I mean I think the other thing too is like that's kind of, you know, wild is like, the fact it's like that the UFC is now taking off in like, Saudi Arabia now and other places.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that personally, but
Me either.
there's a shit ton of money over there. So, you know,
So
but yeah, I mean, I don't know what my overall take from the episode was, though. I'm not sure that anybody that would watch that episode and would go into it maybe on the fence even. I don't think that it would change their mind. You know what I mean?
yeah, well
It
that
may, I guess maybe, depending on what their priorities were, but I don't see it as any sort of negative, I guess. It's a net either neutral or positive
yeah.
ultimately. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't it was a I was actually kind of surprised, like it was a lot less policy,
Yeah.
you know,
Yep.
um, oriented than like than even like I think like Rogan actually like asked like Tulsi Gabbard like tougher questions, like
Yeah, policy questions for sure, yeah.
policy, which there's nothing wrong with that either. But like I was just kind of like I'm kind of like, wow, they didn't cover politics that much. So I definitely think that Kamala could go on there and they would have a similar conversation. But like I yeah, that's kind of my whole thing too. Like I don't know if it'll shift the election that much for Trump's favor, but like I definitely know, just like, and again this is anecdotal, but like I do know some people who are like who just they were kind of like, yeah, I was kind of on the fence, but like I might vote for Trump just because he seems like a lot more personal than Kamala
Yeah.
does. So
Sure. Yeah, and, yeah, I mean, I genuinely I don't think it would be a net negative for Kamala either, unless, I'm sure there's people right now going through with a fine-tooth comb to extract things he said to spin. There was a moment when he's like, if I win this election, well, it'll be my last election. And Joe's like, yeah, it has to be. It was like, and I could just see people being like, oh, see, he's like, like taking the way he said it, the way they do this, the way they spin he says and does, and they've all said he's going to turn it into a dictatorship. So
which that's hilarious because like that whole thing is hilarious because like they're the goofy QAnon people like on the right, but then they're also like the Project 2025 people on the left.
Yeah,
and who think that like that Trump is somehow going to turn into a dictatorship. And my response was like, well, I mean, you've seen some on my tweets. My response to that is always, well, if he had the power to do it the first time and he absolutely did, then why didn't he do it, then? So,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's all stupid. I fucking hate it so much. I hate all this,
Yeah. It's one of the reasons why I don't focus on like the show being strictly political that much anymore, just because it gets old after a while. So.
Yeah, it's all fucking theater, and they're just shuffling the plays around. It's all the same shit over and over.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do commend again. There weren't any real tough questions. It wasn't combative at all, really, at any point. The only he did seem to kind of dodge questions a little bit, or at least answering them, but they weren't even like that tough of questions. They were just but yeah, the ability to do it and to show up and do it, that's and he's done a few podcasts now. I mean, I think he did Theo Von first. He's another comedian.
Yeah. He did Theo Von's podcast, and I guess JD Vance also did Theo Von, which I haven't listened to yet.
That's right.
But like, yeah. but that's one that I'm going to actually listen to maybe like tonight or this weekend, because like, admittedly, I don't know like really who. I know JD Vance is from Ohio, but like that's pretty much kind of all I know.
He seems like a bro, like the bro type.
Yeah, I mean he seems like a good guy. I do find it funny that like there are all these people on social media saying JD Vance is weird, but yet the people who are saying that he's weird are like the people who are like schizo tranny types, or
in a polyamorous relationship with my teddy bear.
Yeah, or even like, I think even like Owen Benjamin was saying something like JD Vance is weird, and it's like, well, look who's talking. So
that's the pot calling the kettle, huh?
So
I see Johnny Arcade, just a quick sidebar. Johnny Arcade's been hitting some Owen Benjamin videos again lately too. I guess Owen's been having some more fun lately.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing that's kind of wild is like, I guess Owen's been like getting back to like he's starting to kind of make waves again with like some of the like the Tim. I guess he's moved to like the Tim Pool crowd, and whatnot. And what's
onto another internet click, yeah, of course.
Yeah, well, what's funny about that though is like, I didn't know this, but like Max and Shmuley, like they were, I guess, messing with like Tim Pool like years and years ago, just like trolling him, like out, like the type of stuff that you and Alan and I all used to do.
Yeah.
And so Max was like, so you're telling me that we'll have to deal with Owen now? And I'm like, yeah, I guess if you're trolling like Tim Pool, I guess, yeah. So
boy, do we have some lore for them.
Yeah, I mean, Max knows a lot of it from like the porcelain documentaries and whatnot,
Right.
but
That's
like
true.
honestly, I think like the funny thing is like Alan is
Yeah.
still
He's been going out. He's never really quit. He's just been like a fucking ninja, constantly in the shadows, traveling around, meeting with Owen's villain. You know, his what do you call it? The damn it. What is that? The Batman. God, fuck. The consortium of bad guys. What do you call it? The
oh the gamma, the evil legion of like
yes, whatever. So you know what I'm saying.
yeah.
Oh fuck. There's like a comic book term that just has blanked my head, and it's totally hit. Now my brain's reset.
Yeah, no, I've been like away from that like side of the internet for so
Rogues
long.
Gallery. Thank you.
The Rogues Gallery. So, um, so I thought I sent Max the invite. Let me check and see.
Well, you put it in the group DM.
Yep, I did, and you got in, so it wasn't like I needed to manually approve.
Oh, he said he didn't see the episode.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I
It's a
mean,
good one.
yeah, it's definitely worth watching. I think.
If you got the time, it's not super. I think that's my overall takeaway is like it's entertaining. You know, it's not super informative. It's just entertaining. You know, it's
Yeah,
fun to see them. You know, go back and forth. And I thought it was also funny that Joe's wearing his fancy UFC when he does UFC commentary. He's always wearing that black button-up shirt. So he's always like the same
yeah.
button up. And he on his podcast he's always wearing, you know, whatever bullshit t-shirt. But yeah, he got dressed up for this one.
Well, I think though too he said something like, "Well, I'm gonna do like." Either he or Trump was like, "Well, I'm gonna go to like an event after
Yeah,
this
that could
or
be.
something."
Oh
So
yeah, you know what? I think that I don't know when they filmed that, but you said it came out Saturday. I thought it came out Friday night.
it can Well, I think it came out like Friday night, but it was like Friday at like 11:55 p.m. or something like that. So
I thought it was earlier because I remembered watching it in the evening. But either way, he was more than likely. Now that I said all that out loud, he was more than likely going to one of the UFC weigh-ins or
yeah,
pre-ceremonial weigh-ins or something. Yeah,
yeah,
see, it was filmed Friday at some point, so they probably did it early in the morning and in the afternoon, and Joe went straight to the UFC weigh-ins and shit because there was a fight yesterday. So that all
yeah,
makes sense. I get it.
yeah. Well, I know that. Well, and also like I know that like just from doing this, sometimes sometimes just depending on like the length of an episode, like it'll take Spotify and YouTube like, time to process you know, video files. So,
Sure. Yeah.
yeah. So, anyway, though, I think the episode was pretty good. I don't I don't know if it'll affect the election that much. I think a lot of people have voted early, too. So, I think for a certain amount of people, it's already kind of done with. I'm actually voting on election day. Um, so
Yeah. And I was thinking that as well, that like, could I show this or any part of it to somebody that I know that like doesn't like him or is on the fence about him? Um, I don't think so. You know what I mean? I don't think it wouldn't matter. You know what I mean? Because there's a slew of evidence already out there of debunking the lies told about him and all the other bullshit. But
Yeah.
they just don't want to. They don't want to see. They don't want to see what they don't want to see. So doesn't matter how
Yeah.
you present them.
I mean, like I said, I know a handful of people who are kind of like, who are kind of like on the fence, and I think this might have like swayed them like, a little bit tangentially, but that's anecdotal evidence. So,
Sure, sure.
you know, overall, I think it'll be a wild ride, and depending on who wins, I'll either be seeing you in Florida at some point, or I'll be seeing you in Gulag number 17
Yeah,
when they
yeah, and
lump us.
region 12 fucking Gulag 7 in the mentally retarded and crippled wing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least Max and Alan will be joining us in that
Yeah,
wing.
we'll all be together.
So, um,
Yeah, I don't have much else to add on it, to be honest with you. It was nice to chat with you, though. I hope I
yeah,
can catch another one with you soon.
yeah. Likewise, for sure. I do think we probably will be doing like an election night live stream, which that ought to be fun.
Nice.
So
Maybe I'll pop into that.
yeah, I mean, I think that one will be kind of be like just like a casual like, let's see who
Yeah,
comes in. So
yeah.
um
Right on.
so other than that though, man, you're doing well it seems, and or as well as one can be doing right now, I
Sure,
guess.
absolutely. Same with
So
you. And isn't there? There's a book you could be someone could buy right now as of recently, right? Both
uh,
hardcover and
well, yeah, that one's actually coming out
it's pre-order.
that one's actually coming out. Yeah, Blood Ties, which is like my mafia, short story series. That's coming out after the election, actually. So,
Awesome. Very cool.
and yeah, and I mean that's like the other thing too is like I write, I've been writing like political thrillers, but I wanted to do something that was kind of like a little, different, that like didn't focus on any of that stuff. So,
Sure.
um,
Hell yeah, man.
so yeah. And other than that, we've just got, I've got a guest for tomorrow that I recorded an interview with yesterday, and so yeah, we're doing good here on Rumble. So
Excellent.
I
Yeah,
guess
thanks. Go ahead.
I guess Mersh thinks that I had like somehow had something to do with him getting demonetized on Rumble, but I'll just say that like maybe you shouldn't be yelling. Maybe you shouldn't be calling your sponsors, who advertise on your show like faggots.
Yeah. Yeah, even
'Cause,
without looking, I've seen clips of that man like degrading the both the advertisers and like the advertising system thing here. The money
yeah,
he calls money laundering system. So gee, I wonder I wonder I wonder why he got demonetized.
yeah. I mean, like I've I haven't made a lot, but like I've made $60, on like ad revenue over the past like couple months. So
Yeah,
that's not bad, but
something.
yeah. So
But yeah, no, thanks again, man, for inviting me. It was fun.
yeah,
As you know, I do happy to see all your success and the boys too.
yeah, and just a real quick promo too. Bits and Bones with Morpheus and you know the Bits and Bones crew. We have a little bit of a personnel shakeup there, but um they're starting at their new time tonight at 10, so that ought to be fun. So
Yeah,
if you
check out Bits and Bones here on Rumble.
if you're into gaming news, watch out for that. So and also buy the Shadows of Deception books if you guys want me to do a review of the new Call of Duty, well then maybe you should buy my books so I have money to go and buy COD.
That's right.
So because it's not
Shit's not cheap.
Yeah, it's not cheap to game anymore. So but anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys, and thanks to Apex for joining. So
Yep. See you, chat. You guys have a good one.
Alrighty. Take care.